Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. I haven't posted in a few weeks because it's kind of been a bit boring. I've just been sowing seeds and just sort of getting on with bits and bobs and doing a little bit of work on the farm, and it hasn't been that riveting that I thought it would be interesting to film. You've seen me sow seeds a million times before, but what I thought I would do now is, it's just the beginning of March, the first week of March, so I thought I would just give you a tour of what's been going on and what seeds I have sown, how things are looking, what my plans are, etc., and show you just what's been going on in the last couple of weeks. So if you don't know me already, my name is Sarah and I'm a flower farmer in East Yorkshire in the UK, and we make lots of content about the flower farm, about projects that we've got going on, etc. and yeah, occasionally I'll do some farm tours to show you how I do things in particular in a kind of tutorial style video, and then we also have lots of exciting projects like our new worm farm, which I'm going to be filming a new worm farm video today as well, because there's been lots of updates on that front as well. So hope you enjoy this video, and if you do, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe if you are not already. So let's get into it. So I'll start off in this greenhouse, which is my main greenhouse, I suppose, or maybe just the first greenhouse that I put up, which is in our garden. And we filled this up yesterday, so there is no more room at the inn in this greenhouse, and there's just some things that have been started off for a couple of weeks now, and then there's some things that are still in here that have been overwintered this winter. So there's things like foxgloves, some campanula and sweet williams, which could maybe do to be kicked outdoors now because I need the room and they need to kind of get ready to be planted out. And then over there there's some things that we just potted on from soil blocks yesterday, like the eucalyptus. Over in the corner there we've got some anemones, and the things that I sowed a couple of weeks ago are kind of just starting to shoot now. Things have been pretty slow, it's been quite cold, so things aren't going really super quick this time of year, but I'm not too concerned about it just yet. So here just behind me I've got some Silene vulgaris, which I sowed in soil blocks, and we just potted it on into trays yesterday, into potting compost. And then I have two trays of Achillea. I'll show you the Achillea out in the field. I want to really improve that bed because I kind of chucked the Achillea in a couple of years ago and I've never put in the missing plants that died off or whatever, and I just want to put some nicer colours in there into the mix. So I've got some flower burst colours there, so that should be nice. Then I've got a couple of tomatoes and peppers because I didn't grow any last year and I kind of missed not having fresh tomatoes. Then there's a couple of sweet peas there for the garden. I don't grow them for the farm, I find them annoying. And then here behind me there I've got some phlox cuttings that I took when I was clearing out the sedum bed a couple of weeks ago. There is a phlox, a few phlox next to it, and I decided to take some cuttings of those and see if they would root, and they have done, so that would be nice. I really like using the phlox. I think it's the one that I've got is a nice white colour. Then behind me here, just on this chair, that's how short of space we are, I have some stocks. What else do we have up here? Yeah, not much more interesting stuff. Oh, I've got some in these boxes here. I have some celosia. I'm not sure how well that's doing because I haven't been able to grow celosia very successfully in the past. So yeah, I'm really hoping to have a nice lot of celosia this year that I'm going to grow in a tunnel out in the field. I've actually got a lot of stuff that I want to grow in tunnels outdoors, so I think I might even have to purchase a second tunnel to fit everything in, because I've made a decision on the polytunnel. If you've been following along with the saga that continues on with the polytunnel, then I'll explain that later on in the video, but yeah, I'm going to need some more outdoor covered growing space, so that can grow lots of the stuff that needs protection like celosia. I want to put asters under there, zinnias, etc., things that kind of like more heat. And then moving on behind me here, I have some trays here which are delphiniums, and I started those again using the seed sowing method that I made a video on a couple of years ago now, and people always ask me for updates on those delphiniums, and actually from that video I never planted them out. I just put them in pots and kind of kept them in my potting on area, my hardening off area. And I noticed yesterday when I was tidying that area up, delphiniums are shooting up from the pots that I planted them in 2 years ago. So they're still there in pots, but I never got around to planting them out in the ground. So I need to find a suitable spot for them, because I am aware that I've heard from a few people that they don't like sitting in clay soil. So I need to research that and find out where might be the best place to plant those. And hopefully we'll have some nice, lovely, long stemmed delphiniums at some point in the future, but we'll see. So yeah, there's some delphiniums there that I literally transplanted into the pots yesterday, so they have sprouted a little root. I'll put the video about sowing delphiniums up in the box up here, and then also down in the description. Then there's the eucalyptus that I mentioned earlier here, some more stalks, and then some things that we sowed yesterday, so some larkspur here, some bells of Ireland. I'm also going to make another video on the bells of Ireland, because last year I found a technique that really worked for germinating them. I'll definitely be posting that video once they start germinating. And then we have more snapdragons. I did grow quite a lot in the Tupperware boxes this year, and I started them off early in the container on heat mats with grow lights, but I haven't really got to grips with the grow lights and heat mats kind of situation. I did have a lot of dampening off this year with the snapdragons, etc. So I've just decided to sow an extra couple of trays just to be 100% sure that I'm going to have enough of everything this year. And then behind me here I've got a couple of trays of the lupins. I posted a video a couple of weeks ago of pre-soaking and germinating those lupins, so they're all starting to come out quite nicely now. I've actually got 3 trays of those, so maybe that's going to be a bit too many for me, but I can always sell on the plants or something like that. And then I have, what have I got here? Got some scabious, it's a summer bouquet mix, some amaranthus, a couple of trays of that, and I have some foxgloves there as well, because I want to see what happens when I spring sow them, see whether we can get some seed, some flowers late on in the season in 2022. Then I've got all sorts of different types of grasses like millet, I've got some dill, and I've got some soteria, and then 2 trays of limonium at the back there. So lots of stuff in here, but even more stuff in the other greenhouse, and I've got a few trays left to sow that I'm going to sow today, so maybe I'll take you along with me when I do that. So this is my hardening off area. We gave this a good tidy up yesterday, because it's usually just a mess of pots and trays and things when the planting season gets into full swing. I just end up putting all of my pots and things on here. But I've got some stuff that's hardened off, that's hardy annuals that are ready to go out. Here there's lots of snapdragons. There is some ammi, a tray of ammi, and some Dorcas as well, so I need to find or get a bed prepped ready for those to be planted out. And then I've got a couple of trays of mint here that I need to prep a mint bed so they can go out in there. I've got some trays of mint here, and then I've also got some around the back as well, so hopefully there'll be plenty there, and if not, it takes so easily from cuttings. And I am aware of how spreading and invasive it is, but I think I'm going to be able to keep it under control, and also it's just amazing in bouquets and things, so I don't think that I'm going to be too displeased with having a large amount of it. So let me find these delphiniums. These are the delphiniums that I sowed 2 years ago. They're only still in small pots and they're just starting to regrow now this spring. So I need to find a suitable place to plant these out, and the new ones that I've sown, and hopefully we can get some flowers from those at some point. And basically that is it for this area, so we'll head off into the front flower field and have a look around there. So the tulips that I planted in February, I think, did I plant them in February or January? They're starting to shoot up in the crates now and looking good. I haven't covered them from the rain or anything, and they seem to be okay, so hopefully we'll get some nice flowers from those in the next month or two. Behind me here is the sedum bed. They're all starting to shoot up again. Behind me there I have a compost heap. I've been trying to make compost. Well, I've been trying to make a hot compost pile, but it hasn't been very successful. I did manage to get it hot a couple of times, I turned it a couple of times, but we had those couple of really bad storms, so it kind of cooled down really quickly. I don't think the pile's really big enough. I think it's in an area that's too exposed, so I'm hoping to make a larger pile at some point and in a more sheltered location, and hopefully it will stay hot. I don't think this time of year is really a great time to be making compost, especially with it being we've all got such cold winds around this area, and it's quite open and flat, so we don't get much protection from it. So behind me here, that is the bed of lupins. They're all starting to come up again. Here we have some giant scabious and some limonium. This area here is kind of, each bed is longer than the next because it's a triangle shape, and it's kind of really patchy now because it gets wet here. It's quite heavy clay. I've not mulched it as much as my other beds, so I'm hoping that this year I can sort that out and fill it up a little bit more and get those gaps filled and the soil improved here. So got lots of gaps in the Achillea. I haven't got much in this end of this bed here because I did plant Aquilegias and Valerian in there, and they didn't survive, so I need to replant those. And then here I've got the Lady's Mantle. That's really great. Hopefully that will just keep coming back bigger and better. And then this here is kind of hard to see now, but it was a bed, and now it's kind of returned to grass, but I'm hoping to get this covered up, probably try to broad fork it to aerate the soil in here, and I'm going to cover crop it and then try and put some perennials in it later on in the season, because it's always struggled, that bed. There's weed membrane all over the place because of the storms that we've been having and the wind. We've had so much wind the last couple of months, it's really frustrating. All the perennials are doing okay. They're kind of just like bumbling along. I planted out lots of new ones in the last couple of months. These are 2 beds of dahlias behind me. I haven't got round to even mulching those yet. I've got so much mulching to do, it's unreal. I was wondering whether to have like a day where I could ask people to come and help me out and get all of the mulching done, and I can either pay for people's work or give them some flowers or something in return during the season, but we'll see. It would just really help if I had a few more hands on the job just to get all of that mulching done, because it is a lot to do. Everything else is looking quite good. This is an old bed of grasses. I need to get that replaced because that's they are from last year, they're no good anymore. And then the bed of eucalyptus here, the eucalyptus are looking really sad. I'm hoping that once the weather starts warming up, they're going to sort of improve and start putting on some growth, because they are kind of looking like they're dying. But I have got more sown, so I can also sow some more. I can plant them in places if they die. I sound like I'm really mumbling today. I think it's just because it's not been long since I got up. So then I've got a couple of beds of dahlias here that have been mulched, and I put some alpaca wool on top of them. Most of the alpaca wool has flown off now in the storms that we've had, but there's still some there, so it's probably offering some kind of protection. And then behind me here there's a bed of Nigella. So a couple of weeks ago I was really trying to prioritise getting things planted out that needed planting. So the Nigella just went in there and it's looking alright at the moment, so fingers crossed we can have some early nice bits of Nigella. And then I thought I would just show you the eucalyptus that I coppiced about a year ago today. So it's a lot taller than me now. I'm kind of reaching my arm up in the air, and this one here is especially high. It's grown really well and it's looking quite healthy. There's a couple behind me, there's one there, and at the time when I coppiced them I only did half because I wasn't sure how it was going to work out. So I'm going to do the other half in the next week or two, so I will definitely be making a video about that. But yeah, I'm really pleased with the way that the coppicing has gone. We've actually got a big eucalyptus tree just back there next to my greenhouse, and it does cast a bit of shade on the greenhouse, so I'm going to also prune that one at the same time. And there's one more thing to tell you about, and that is the teepee. So I took the teepee down before we had the storms, and we took the canvas off the teepee, and we took it to somebody who makes lorry sheet, like wagon sheets, and we asked if they could repair it for us because it had some tears in it, and they said no, we can't repair it. So we took it to another place that does caravan awnings, and they said that they can't repair it either. So I'm desperately looking for somebody to come or for me to take the TP2 for me to get it repaired. The lady that does the awnings said that her sewing machine isn't good enough for the material because the material is extremely thick. So yeah, I'm looking out for somebody to come and repair repair the canvas. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to run workshops, and I really wanted to start running them in kind of April time. So we've only got a month left to go. So I need to do some googling, some ringing around, and see if someone can come and repair it. So I'll take you around to the backfield now, and the polytunnel and the other greenhouse, and we can see what's going on in there. So I thought I would do a quick stopover in the workshop whilst I'm walking by and tell you about what's going on in here. So I did have grow lights and heat mats in here with lots of soil blocks in, and lots of the soil blocks have done well. There's mainly perennials in here, so that is Salvia sclerea, and then we've got some more Achillea here, some eucalyptus, and there's lots of verbena there that's kind of just been put back on this heat mat, which hasn't germinated very easily, but hopefully it will at some point soon. And then also on this heat mat we have this polystyrene box which is full of worm eggs. So I'm just going to give you a short story now of the worm farm. Basically we bought 20,000 more worms because we are very excited and hopeful about the prospect of growing worms and selling worms, and not just as for gardeners and growers, but for fishermen as well. So we are putting these eggs on heat mats. We sieved them a couple of weeks ago. We got about 1,000 out of the beds. We know that because Rob counted them. He counted every single one. Well, actually, he counted half of them and we just doubled it. So he sat there one night and counted 500 eggs. Rather him, not me. So we've got them in that box there, and we're just waiting for them to hatch. And there are a few that look like they are going to hatch in the next few days. So we'll see. And I will film that when the time comes to it. So yeah, we got two different types of worms. We got more of the red wigglers, which are the worms that we purchased originally, and then we got some more. We got some dendrobina worms as well. So I'll talk about that in another video anyway. And also I got myself a new microscope. If you follow me on Instagram, you will know that I purchased a microscope a few weeks ago because I really want to be able to look into my own soils and analyse those. And it has been a learning curve. There isn't much information online about actually being able to identify what's what in the soil. I just thought it would be quite simple to be able to find a diagram that is labelled online that would be able to tell me what a bacteria looks like, what a kind of rod bacteria looks like, what a fungus or a fungal spore looks like, what a protozoa looks like. So it's been quite difficult to find out what's what, but I think I'm kind of getting to grips with it now. But it's not the easiest thing to do, but it's really fascinating to look at the soil life, and it's especially exciting when you get to see things like nematodes. So I'll put some images on the screen of those. When I found those, it's been quite exciting. And actually the most exciting stuff has been found in the worm castings that we've sieved out of the worm bins. So that's really promising. I'm hoping that the worm castings are really going to help this year on the farm to create lots of healthy plants, etc. So what I've been doing this year is mixing worm castings in with a lot of my seed starting mixes. So I'm hoping that that's going to give everything a really good start in life. And also I will be doing lots of worm castings teas as well to feed plants with. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the results of that, and hopefully improving all of the soil health on the farm as well. So that's that talked about. So we'll head over to the back of the farm now and see what's going on. So yesterday I gave the alpacas some diatomaceous earth, which is kind of like just like a rock powder that is mainly made up of diatoms, fossilised diatoms, which are an algae that is found in the seas and lakes and rivers and all sorts of things like that. And they really like that stuff because it helps to it dehydrates mites if they have mites. I don't think that my boys have got mites, but they really enjoyed having a roll around in that diatomaceous earth. So here they are. They're just chilling. As soon as I put the stuff down, they just like dropped to the floor and started rolling around. It was really comical to watch them. So that's going to be something that's going to be nice to do every now and again for them. They can have a nice roll around in that. It's breakfast time for Ollie. So last week Rob put me in an IBC that is over there, and it is full of water that's been held in a tank for quite a long time. So it is dechlorinated water. It's not ideal as rainwater, but hopefully it is going to support microbial life rather than killing it off, which is what chlorinated tap water does. So because I'm trying to put so much effort into raising good microbiology in my soil, I really don't want to be pouring chlorinated water all over everything. So I have made the decision that from now on I will only be using rainwater. So I need to come up with a rainwater collection system for all of the different areas where I am going to need rainwater. So our house has a water butt on it which will collect rainwater off the house, but it's kind of not near the greenhouse, so I end up having to go backwards and forwards, which isn't too much of a problem, but it can be a bit annoying if you need to do multiple trips. And then I need to have a rainwater collection for this field and for that front field. So I need to do 3 separate areas of rainwater collection, and then I need to decide whether there are any areas where I'm going to need a water pump from the rainwater collection. So if I'm going to be running irrigation, etc., then it might get a bit pricey if I'm going to need kind of 2 or 3 water pumps, but we'll see. We'll just see how the season goes, and see how we can get along with watering, etc. So not much has changed in this field. I still have an absolute load of mulching to do, which as I said before, is a major job that needs doing. This bed behind me got planted out last week. It is full of larkspur, corn cockle, cornflowers and sunbaplurum. So that's looking good there, and I've got lots of other beds to prep. I've got at least 1 bed's worth of plants to plant out again, and that will be the biennials such as the foxgloves, etc. I'm hoping to put those in one of those beds here, but the problem that I have in this field is that the grass behind us is obviously very soft because it is winter and it's been raining a lot, and Rob drops it for me in this field over the fence with the forklift, but it has obviously caused lots of standing water through the compaction of the tyre marks, so that isn't ideal. But there's a bit of a weird fight going on over there. Hopefully you saw that, because it's quite dark. Yeah, so I can't remember what I was just saying then, but I will just show you what's going on here. This is my hardening off area, my cold frame, and there's some biennials in here. They need to be planted out into the ground, but a lot of them have actually rooted through the weed membrane into the ground below, so I think a couple of them got lifted up yesterday and they've kind of wilted a bit because they've lost some of the root system, but hopefully giving them a bit of water and planting them out, they'll still be fine. So then behind me we have the other greenhouse, which is full, and I've actually decided to put some plastic over the top of all of the seed trays because I found that they were drying out really quickly, and over the weekend and things like that I wasn't here for a couple of days, so I thought if I put some plastic over the top, then that will keep the moisture in and hopefully things will germinate. So I've got lots of stuff in here like stalks, poppies, snapdragons, helichrysum, limonium, got some limonium sawariae, which is the rat tail status, and I'm hoping to put that under a tunnel because it hasn't ever grown very tall for me out in the field. And then I've got some cerinthe, which I've never grown before, and that hasn't germinated yet, but hopefully it will do soon. And then we've got some bunny-tail grass, some more grasses like some Soteria and some panicum. Got some cornflowers, and then some lavatera. And then we've got some auroch, some helichrysum, Greek cress, baplurum, etc. in here. So that's all hopefully germinating away, and that is, apart from that shelf there, which is probably going to get filled up today, that's this greenhouse full now. And then moving on to the polytunnel, which is the bane of my life, this polytunnel. So my deep mulch system, where I put probably about 4 or 5 inches of straw down, then I put cardboard down, then I put 2 or 3 inches of compost on top, and then I was planning on weed membrane on the top of that. Hasn't worked to prevent the thistles from coming back up, so I've got creeping thistle or Canadian thistle that's going on in this polytunnel, and it's just popping up all over the place. And I had a bit of a meltdown about it last week because it's just starting to really frustrate me now that I can't get a good season out of the polytunnel. It's such a valuable growing space, and every single year I get defeated by weeds. So I've decided to do something really drastic and take the polytunnel out of production this season. That is apart from the fact that I've just planted these ranunculus in that bed there. So I'm going to leave that bed until the ranunculus have flowered, but start preparing the rest of it now. So I'm going to try and weaken these thistles by digging them up and digging them out with my hori knife. So they have really annoying horizontal root systems, which if you leave any part of that root in the ground, it will just start to regrow. But the more you dig it out, the more energy it takes for that plant to keep shooting up, and hopefully eventually it will run out of energy and it won't want to live in here anymore because it's run out of energy. So this bed here, I'm going to weed that, and then so when I was doing research about the thistle yesterday, it mentioned that this thistle really likes compacted soils and soils with low nutrients, and what I want to really do is create an environment that will sustain the plants that I want to grow rather than weeds. So if I can increase the nutrient level in here and make it just a more microbially rich, more organic matter in the soil, less compacted, then hopefully it's going to be less inviting for the weeds, because weeds want to regenerate the soils and bring them back to life through invading these areas. So I don't know a lot about this, but I'm trying to describe it in the best way I can. So I listened to Jenny Love's podcast with Nigel Palmer the other day, and she said that she makes a tea out of the weeds that are growing in an area and feeds it to the soil, because those weeds are trying to mine minerals from deep down and bring them up to the surface to improve the soil. So if we can add more to it to try and cultivate the good soil, then hopefully that process will go along quicker, and then we can have healthier soils with less weeds over time. So yeah, I'm going to weed this area. Then I have got a cover crop that I might put in here that I already have from last season. It's a summer quick fix cover crop. I can't remember exactly what's in it, but I need to find the bag and look in it and see what's there, and then hopefully that I'll have enough there to sow this patch here. Then I'm going to just keep watering that with worm tea, and then hopefully that's going to really improve the life in the soil. I'm going to kill off that cover crop by mowing it over or something like that, and then maybe even sow a second or a third succession of the cover crop, and then at the end of the season I can mulch it with compost and grow into that, and hopefully it will have really improved the soil. So you'll have to join me along on this journey, because it's not going to be a quick fix. Hopefully after one season of really working on the soil in here, it's going to be much better than it is now, because the soil is very hydrophobic. It doesn't hold water, and if I overwater it, it kind of collects in puddles and things like that on the pathways. So and then obviously we get lots of weed problems and pest problems, etc., and the plants just generally don't thrive in here. So you'll have to join me, and we'll see if that's going to work. I'll take you along every step of the way, and I'll make a dedicated video on that, and hopefully we can improve the soil life in this polytunnel. So basically I think that's about it that's been going on the farm in the last couple of weeks. Lots of kind of changes happening and exciting stuff, which is nice, and hopefully this season we're going to have a really nice season of flower growing. I actually I'm doing something a little bit new this year, which is flower subscriptions, and I'm going to be offering flower deliveries, which is something that I haven't done before, but I'm really looking forward to seeing how my customer base is potentially going to expand by being able to offer deliveries. So I'm looking forward to that season. I've got so much mulching to do, as you can see, as I've told you already, loads and loads of mulching to do, so I need to crack on and get that done so that the plants are ready to go in the ground about May time. So in the next couple of weeks there's a few new videos coming out, such as the worm farm, cover crop in the polytunnel, Probably there's going to be coppice in the eucalyptus and just general farm jobs to keep you in the loop of what's going on the farm at the moment. If there's anything in particular that you'd really like to see, then please send me a message or write something down in the comments, and I'll try to make a video on that. And with that being said, the alpacas have just escaped into my flower field, so I better get going. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you again next time.